Welcome to the Easy Vibes podcast, your escape to calm, uplifting conversations. Whether you're unwinding or recharging, we've got the perfect vibe for you. So sit back, relax, and let's get into it.
Hey everyone, and welcome back to the Easy Vibe podcast. I'm Chloe, here with my wonderful co-host, Eden.
And I'm Eden. So happy to be back with all of you for another cozy chat. Grab your favorite mug, settle into your comfiest spot because we've got a really interesting and, dare I say, chilled out topic on the docket today.
Pun absolutely intended, Eden. We're diving deep into the fascinating, ever-evolving world of relaxing music. You know, those sounds we put on when we need to unwind, focus, or just drift off to sleep.
Exactly. And it's something that feels so universal, right? Everyone has that go-to soundscape, whether it's for meditation, background noise while working, or just to de-stress after a long day. But what we want to explore today is how that concept of relaxing music has changed from what we might consider traditional sounds to the more modern vibes we hear everywhere now.
Totally. We're going to compare everything from classical melodies and the soothing sounds of nature to those super chill lo-fi beats and ambient synth waves that dominate our streaming playlists these days. Are they all equally effective? Do they create different feelings? We're curious to find out and to share some of our own experiences along the way.
It's going to be a fun little journey through sound filled with personal anecdotes, maybe a few light debates, and definitely some curious questions about how music helps us find our calm. So let's just ease right into it, shall we?
So, Eden, before we dive into all the different genres, I have to ask you, what even is relaxing music to you? Like if someone says, put on some relaxing music, what's the first thing that pops into your head? Oh, that's a great question, Chloe. For me personally, relaxing music almost always means no lyrics. As soon as there are words, my brain starts trying to process them. And that's the opposite of relaxing for me. It's like my mind can't fully switch off if it's trying to decipher a story or follow a narrative.
That's so interesting. I totally get the no lyrics thing. I think for me, the first thought is usually something super ambient, almost background noise that you don't actively listen to, but just feel. Like it just washes over you. I'm thinking very soft, slow, instrumental, maybe a piano or some gentle strings.
Yeah, washes over you is a perfect way to put it. It's almost like it becomes part of the environment rather than something you're focusing on. Do you ever find that some music that's meant to be relaxing just isn't for you? Like, it just doesn't hit that right note?
Oh, absolutely. Sometimes I'll put on a relaxing playlist and it'll have something in it that feels too busy, or maybe a melody that's just a little too intense. Like it still has a discernible song structure that pulls my attention in rather than letting it drift. What about you? Anything that's supposed to be chill but just makes you feel the opposite?
For sure, I think anything with a really strong, repetitive beat, even if it's slow, can sometimes feel a bit grating rather than soothing. Or, oddly enough, sometimes classical music, even if it's beautiful and slow, can feel too dramatic. Like if it builds up too much, I'm waiting for the crescendo, and that's not exactly relaxing for me. It's more of an emotional journey than a wind down.
Oh, I totally get that with classical. Some classical pieces are definitely more about intensity and grandiosity than just pure relaxation. I think for me, it has to have a certain sense of space, almost like you can breathe within the music. It can't feel claustrophobic or too dense. And I think that's where things like nature sounds really come in for me because they inherently have that spaciousness.
True, the open-endedness of nature sounds is definitely a huge part of their appeal for relaxation. There's no beginning or end, just a continuous flow. So if we're defining it, I guess relaxing music for us involves something that's generally non-lyrical, not too demanding of your attention, and offers a sense of calm and spaciousness rather than an active emotional journey.
Yeah, I think that's a pretty solid starting point for our definition. It's about creating an atmosphere rather than telling a story, or even having a prominent melody that you hum along to. It's more about the feeling it creates in your body and mind.
Absolutely. It's about setting a mood, right? And I think when we talk about traditional relaxing music, mood setting has been happening for centuries. What comes to mind first when you think of traditional relaxing music? For me, it's immediately classical. Oh, same. Classical is definitely the OG of relaxing music, isn't it? Though, as we just discussed, not all classical is created equal for relaxation. I'm thinking more along the lines of slow movements, chamber music, maybe some Satie or Debussy, things that are intentionally ethereal.
Yes, exactly. Like Debussy's Clair de Lune or Satie's Gymnopédies. Those pieces just instantly transport you to a calmer place. My grandma used to play classical piano all the time, and I remember falling asleep to the sound of her practicing these beautiful, meandering melodies. There's something so timeless and elegant about them. They don't demand your attention, they just exist.
That's beautiful, Chloe. It's funny how those sounds can carry so much personal history and comfort. For me, classical relaxation often meant listening to pieces by Chopin on an old record player my parents had. The crackle of the vinyl just added to the whole meditative experience. It felt intentional, like you were engaging with something significant, not just putting it on in the background.
It's true, there's a certain respect you have for it. And then, of course, there are nature sounds. I mean, you can't get more traditional than that, right? The sound of rain, ocean waves, birds chirping, a crackling fire. These are sounds we've been listening to for millennia, and they're inherently soothing.
Oh, completely. Nature sounds are my go-to for sleep, especially if I'm struggling. There's a rain track I use that just puts me right out. It's almost like our brains are wired to find those sounds calming because they signify safety or a natural rhythm. Like the sound of rain meant shelter, or the gentle lapping of waves meant peace. There's no discord in it, just a consistent, natural pattern.
100%. I remember one time I was trying to study for exams, and I was so stressed, my brain just wouldn't focus. I put on a forest soundscape, with birds, a gentle stream, leaves rustling, and it was like my mind finally just settled down. It wasn't distracting, it just created a calm environment. It reminds me of being outside, even when you're stuck indoors.
That's a perfect example. And then, moving beyond just pure nature sounds, we have traditional folk instruments and indigenous soundscapes. I'm thinking of things like Native American flute music, or the ethereal sounds of a Japanese koto, or even the resonating tones of Tibetan singing bowls. These sounds often have a deep spiritual or cultural significance, which adds another layer to their relaxing quality.
Yes, the Native American flute, for instance, has such a poignant, almost melancholic beauty to it. It evokes images of vast open spaces and feels incredibly grounding. I used to listen to R. Carlos Nakai when I was in high school, and it just created this sense of calm and connection to something much bigger than myself. It wasn't just music, it felt like a meditation.
Absolutely. And Tibetan singing bowls. There's nothing quite like the sound of them. It's like the sound washes through your body and you feel the vibrations. It's often used in meditation and sound healing for a reason. It feels like it literally retunes you. I went to a sound bath once and it was incredible. The deep, resonant hum just completely enveloped me.
That sounds amazing. I think what unites all these traditional forms, whether it's classical, nature, or folk instruments, is this sense of organic authenticity. They often use acoustic instruments, natural elements, or sounds that have been passed down through generations. There's a timeless quality to them.
And they don't feel manufactured, right? They feel like they've always existed, or at least they tap into something primal within us. There's a raw, unadulterated quality that feels incredibly grounding and almost therapeutic. It's like they invite you to slow down and just be. You know, listening to us talk about all these traditional sounds, the classical, the nature, the flutes, the singing bowls, it makes me think about how much our actual listening habits have changed over the years. Like, I don't necessarily have a record player for Chopin or a CD player for nature sounds anymore.
Oh, absolutely. It's wild to think about, isn't it? Because while I deeply appreciate those traditional forms, my daily go-to for relaxing music has definitely shifted. And I think a huge part of that is the absolute convenience of streaming services.
100%. I mean, back in the day, if I wanted to listen to a specific classical piece, I had to find the CD or maybe even track down the vinyl. Now, I just open an app, type it in, and it's there. Or even better, I get recommendations for things I've never heard of before.
Exactly. And that accessibility has really opened up a whole world of new genres that probably wouldn't have been as prevalent or easy to find before. Think about it. How many people were really seeking out dedicated ambient music channels or lo-fi hype-hop beats before streaming? It was a niche.
It was super niche. Now it's just a playlist away. It's like streaming has democratized relaxation music. You don't need to be a classical aficionado or know about specific indigenous artists to find something that calms you down. The algorithms just present it to you.
And sometimes that's a blessing and a curse, right? On one hand, amazing discovery. On the other, sometimes I feel like I'm just passively consuming whatever the algorithm thinks I want, rather than actively seeking out something specific that resonates. But for relaxation, I often lean into that passive discovery.
Oh, totally. For background music, especially when I'm working or just chilling, I love letting a curated playlist take the wheel. It's less effort, and sometimes I stumble upon something truly gems. It's definitely a different approach than putting on a specific album with intention, but it serves a similar purpose in a modern context.
Exactly, and that leads us perfectly into what I think of as modern chill music. Because when I'm letting a curated playlist take the wheel, more often than not, it's steering me towards lo-fi beats, ambient soundscapes, or something synth-based. It's rarely a full orchestra these days, unless I specifically seek it out.
Right? It's like the soundtrack to our digital lives. Lo-fi especially has just exploded. I remember when I first stumbled upon those 24/7 lo-fi hip-hop radio streams on YouTube, and it was a revelation. Suddenly, my work-from-home setup felt like a cozy, slightly melancholy coffee shop.
Oh, the lo-fi girl with the studying animation? Iconic. What is it about lo-fi that just works for focus and relaxation? For me, it's the lack of jarring changes, the consistent, gentle beat, and often the subtle samples that create this comforting, almost nostalgic hum. It's not demanding your full attention.
It's exactly that. It has just enough structure to keep your brain from wandering too far, but not so much that it's distracting. And the beats are just so smooth. It's like a gentle massage for your brain. I use it for writing, for cleaning, even sometimes just for winding down. It creates this instantly chill, slightly muted atmosphere.
And then there's ambient music, which feels like lo-fi's more ethereal cousin. Less beat-driven, often just layers of sound washing over you. Think Brian Eno or those deep drone tracks. That's what I reach for when I truly need to dissolve into the background, like from meditation or even just staring out the window.
Ooh, ambient is a whole different beast. While lo-fi has a defined groove, ambient is more about creating a space. It's almost architectural in how it builds an atmosphere. I find it can be incredibly calming, but sometimes if it's too abstract, my brain tries too hard to find a melody or pattern, and then I get distracted. It's a fine line for me.
That's fair. It definitely requires a certain mindset. But when it hits right, it just opens up this vast internal landscape. And then, related to that, but often more structured, is synth-based relaxing music. I love how modern producers are using synthesizers to create these incredibly lush, warm soundscapes that still feel futuristic.
Yes, synth music for relaxation often has this clean, pristine quality to it. It can be incredibly soothing without any of the acoustic imperfections you might get from traditional instruments. It's like tailor-made calm, often with a sense of wonder or even nostalgia for a retro futuristic vibe. Like, if you could bottle the feeling of a calm spaceship floating through space, that's what it sounds like.
That's a perfect description, and it ties into the whole algorithm curated playlist thing, because I find that a lot of these platforms have really leaned into creating specific moods using these modern genres. You have playlists titled Deep Focus, Chill Lo-Fi Beats to Study/Relax to, Sleep Ambient, or Calm Synths. It's not just about the artist or album anymore, it's about the vibe they've packaged for you.
Absolutely. I've noticed that too. They're so effective at creating an instant mood. It's almost like a shortcut to calm. Before, you might have had to carefully select a classical piece or a nature sound recording. But now, a single click on a playlist titled Mellow Morning gives you an hour of perfectly curated lo-fi or ambient tracks that just work. And the beauty of it is the sheer variety. One moment, I could be listening to lo-fi to get some work done. The next, I might put on some deep ambient tracks to unwind before bed, and then maybe some synth waves for a walk. These sounds have become such an integral part of my daily rhythm, almost like a sonic companion for every activity.
Yeah, they're incredibly versatile. And they don't carry the same kind of historical or cultural weight that, say, a classical piece or indigenous soundscape might. They feel very contemporary, designed specifically for the pace of modern life and our digital consumption habits. It's relaxation on demand, tailored for the screen generation.
That's a really interesting point, Chloe, about them being tailored for the screen generation, because it makes me wonder, when we put them head to head, traditional versus modern, for specific scenarios, which one actually wins the vibe check?
Ooh, the ultimate vibe check. Okay, let's start with, say, meditation. When you're truly trying to connect with yourself, clear your mind, go deep, are you reaching for a Tibetan singing bowl recording or some deep ambient synth pads?
This is tough. My instinct wants to say the traditional sounds, like those singing bowls or gentle nature sounds, because they feel so organic, so grounding. There's something ancient and resonant about them that feels very connected to the practice of mindfulness.
See, I lean towards traditional for meditation too, but with a caveat. If it's a guided meditation, the traditional sounds work beautifully as a backdrop. But if it's unguided, sometimes my mind starts to fixate on the repetitive bird chirps or the particular note of the bowl. For pure, deep focus, I've actually found certain minimalist ambient tracks to be incredibly effective because they provide a consistent, non-distracting hum. No melody to latch onto, just pure texture.
That's so true. It's about finding that sweet spot where it's present enough to be a blanket of sound, but not so prominent that it becomes a thought prompt. What about for falling asleep? This is a big one for me.
Okay, for sleep, I overwhelmingly go modern. Lo-fi or very, very gentle ambient. My brain needs something to latch onto just slightly to stop the chaotic thoughts, but then fade into the background. Classical music, even the softest pieces, sometimes feels too active to my brain right before bed. It has structure, movements, emotional arcs. I'm too busy appreciating it to drift off.
I'm with you on that. I've tried the classical lullabies, and it just feels like my brain is working overtime trying to follow the composition. Nature sounds for sleep can be great, especially rain or gentle waves, but sometimes the sudden hoot of an owl or a loud crack of thunder in a storm track can just jolt you awake. No thanks. Lo-fi or gentle, consistent ambient is my sleep champion. It's predictable in the best way.
Predictable is key for sleep. It's like a sonic weighted blanket. Now, what about just general background ambience for daily life? Like if you're cooking, reading, just chilling at home, not specifically trying to meditate or sleep.
Oh, this is where modern music absolutely shines for me. Lo-fi or even those soft indie folk playlists that have the similar chill vibe, it provides just enough energy and rhythm without being intrusive. It makes my space feel lived in and cozy. Traditional classical music can feel a bit too grand sometimes for just making toast, unless I'm trying to feel like I'm in a period drama while doing dishes.
Oh, I definitely put on classical when I want to feel like I'm in a period drama, usually while cleaning. But for everyday, easy background, I swing between the two. If I'm working, it's 100% lo-fi or chill instrumental. But if I'm just relaxing with a cup of tea, sometimes a gentle classical guitar piece or some soft instrumental folk music feels incredibly grounding and warm in a way modern sounds don't quite achieve for me. It's like a connection to something timeless.
See, that's where I think the difference lies. Traditional sounds often evoke a sense of heritage or a connection to nature or deep human emotion. They have this kind of gravitas. Whereas modern sounds, especially lo-fi and synth-based, feel more engineered for immediate comfort and utility in our fast-paced lives. They're streamlined.
Engineered for immediate comfort and utility. That's such a perfect way to put it. And I think that's why modern sounds excel in tasks where you need background unobtrusiveness, like studying or working. They are designed to not distract. Traditional music, even when relaxing, often has a narrative or a texture that might pull your attention more. A sudden crescendo in a classical piece or the distinct melody of a folk tune.
Yeah, it's a trade-off. Do you want something that subtly supports your focus or something that offers a rich, perhaps more emotionally complex sound experience? For me, if I want to really listen to relaxing music and feel something profound, I might reach for a beautiful classical piece or a deeply resonant indigenous soundscape. But if I just want a gentle hum to keep me company, it's lo-fi all the way.
So it really comes down to the intention behind the listening. If it's active relaxation, enjoying the sound itself, traditional often wins. If it's passive background for another activity, modern often takes the cake. It's fascinating how our brains are wired to interact differently with these sonic landscapes.
Totally. It's not about one being inherently better, but rather about what serves the moment best. And honestly, it's nice to have so many options now, thanks to technology. Exactly, and that leads us perfectly into thinking about how technology has just completely reshaped how we even consume relaxing music. I mean, thinking back even 15, 20 years ago, getting a specific type of relaxing music, whether it was a classical album or a nature sounds CD, was a much more deliberate act. Now, it's just a tap away.
Oh, absolutely. The sheer accessibility is mind-blowing. You want rain sounds? There are 50 different versions on Spotify. You want lo-fi beats? There are dedicated 24/7 radio streams on YouTube. It's no longer about buying an album, it's about pulling up a playlist curated by an algorithm for your deep focus or sleep.
And that curation is fascinating, isn't it? Like, is the algorithm truly understanding what makes me relax? Or is it just giving me a generic, palatable version of calm? Sometimes I wonder if that instant gratification, that endless stream, changes the value we place on the music too.
That's a really deep question, Eden. Does it make it more disposable? When you had to physically go out and buy a CD of calming ocean waves, there was an intention, a commitment to that sound. Now it's just so easy to just skip if a track doesn't immediately hit that relaxation sweet spot. It's almost like a consumeristic approach to calm.
Consumeristic approach to calm. I love that. And it makes me wonder, with all this digital evolution, do modern sounds carry the same depth and emotional impact as more traditional forms? Is something gained or is something lost?
I think something is definitely gained in terms of utility and versatility. Modern sounds are so adaptable for background noise, for working, for quick stress relief. But I do sometimes feel that they lack the profound emotional arc or the deep, almost spiritual connection that some traditional music can offer. A classical symphony or an indigenous chant feels like it has a story, a history, a soul.
Yes, a soul. That's the word I was looking for. There's a resonance there that feels tied to human experience over centuries, not just the last decade of digital production. It's like comparing a meticulously crafted ancient artifact to a beautifully designed, mass-produced modern tool. Both serve a purpose, but one has a different kind of inherent weight.
Exactly. And maybe that's why, for truly deep emotional release or introspection, I still gravitate towards something more traditional. If I want to feel moved by relaxing music, not just gently soothed, then it's often something classical or a piece with organic instrumentation that feels truly performed, truly felt by a human.
It's almost like modern sounds are designed to be smooth and frictionless, which is great for background. But sometimes friction or emotional complexity is what leads to deeper feeling and release. It's a fascinating trade-off that technology has brought us.
It really is. And I think ultimately what we've discovered today, Eden, is that there's no single right answer for relaxing music. It's truly a spectrum, isn't it? From the ancient soul-stirring melodies to the sleek digital hums of today.
Absolutely. It's less about picking a side and more about appreciating the vast buffet of calm that's available to us now. Whether you're reaching for some classical piano, the gentle patter of rain, or a chill lo-fi beat, it's all about finding what resonates with your easy vibe in that particular moment.
Agreed. And isn't that just the beauty of sound? It adapts to us and we adapt to it. It's been so fun diving into this with you and hearing your take on everything from whale songs to synth pads.
My pleasure, Chloe. This has been such a cozy chat. And to all our wonderful listeners, thank you so much for joining us on this exploration of sound and serenity. We hope it's given you some new ideas for your own chill-out playlists.
We'd love to hear your thoughts too. What's your go-to relaxing music? Are you a traditionalist, a modern maven, or a bit of both? Let us know on social media. You can find us at the Easy Vibe Podcast.
Yes, please share your favorites. Until next time, stay cozy, stay calm, and keep those good vibes flowing.
Bye, everyone.
See ya.